Uh, Welcome back to the Marching to Madness College Basketball Podcast, where yes, I have returned, and yes, I have one of my favorite coaches in the biz up here with me right now, Coach Martin Ingelsby of the Delaware Blue Hens. They won the CAA Tournament last season before going to the NCAA Tournament, and they lost to Villanova, but he had a really good year. He was the team from the CAA to make it to March Madness. Coach, finally, I can tell you congratulations as I'm getting healthier and healthier after that accident. So, real happy to have you back on here.
Well, it's always a pleasure to talk with you, Ken, and I appreciate all you do for college basketball, and most importantly, glad to see you doing well and be able to be back here and talk some hoops. So we're excited to get going this year and obviously finish or jump from what we did last year, and it was a heck of a journey for our group to be able to win a championship, playing the NCAA tournament, something that we had talked about doing for a long time here at the university. So we're excited to couple weeks away from really getting going.
Yeah, really getting going with basketball. That's my thing. Hey, as we say, you won the CAA tournament. Uh, what are some key things that your guys did to allow you to get to that point? Because winning 3 games in 3 days, no matter what the situation, that's a tough chore.
Yeah, no, it was, and that's what we talked about throughout the season. Obviously, our goal was to win a championship, win a regular season championship, and to be able to win a tournament championship. We dealt with quite a bit of adversity during the year. Had some injuries. Had to be able to persevere through that. Had to try to reinvent ourselves when the big kid Dylan Painter went down midway through conference play. But when I look back on last year and being in DC, we won a championship with our defense and our toughness. We held 3 teams, 3 consecutive days under 60 points. Wasn't the prettiest of games offensively for us at times, but we buckled down and really, really came together when we needed to the most. I think our focus was really good. We got down to DC on Friday night. We took the team out to dinner. We had a good spirited practice on Saturday, and it was amazing what one win could do for the confidence of a team. We beat Drexel on Sunday, and if you rewind 2 weeks ago, we had lost 2 games in a row at home. We had to finish a half of a game at Towson the Monday before the conference tournament started. So we really lost 3 games in a row heading into DC. And, our guys came back a little beaten down group, but we got them to really refocus and get back to some good habits and having fun playing basketball again. And, just the mindset of our group, the mentality of our group as we headed down 95, was really, really strong. And again, we played well against Drexel and really had a lot of confidence as we headed into the semifinal matchup against Towson, and then beat a really, really good UNC Wilmington to get the bid to the NCAA tournament. So it was a great run for us down in DC.
Yeah, you had 6 players who averaged from 9.7 points to 13.5 points per game. That's good in any situation because of how the team played together. When you have that, is it a situation where your matchups versus other teams can kind of, showing themselves every night, and it underlines certain players that have advantages inside the game? Is that a true idea when you have that many players averaging that close?
I think so. And for us, we had a lot of firepower on the offensive end. And I would tell them all the time, there's only one ball out there. So being able to share it and trust, especially on the offensive end, was a work in progress for us throughout the year. I believe we had 7 guys last year that scored 20 or more points in a single game, which we could really put the ball in the hoop. We needed to be better on the defensive end and doing some tough stuff on that end of the floor to be able to obviously cut down nets and win a championship. And I learned that from Coach Bray. You're kind of mix and matching lineups throughout a season, throughout a game. Can you change your style of play? Can you play small? Can you play big? We dealt with a key guy going down earlier in the season and then him getting healthy and getting reacclimated to the team. And how do you practice and how do you do that through the course of the game to stay consistent with what you're doing, but then also get a key guy back into the fold and try to get him confident. And I think we managed that pretty well. Obviously Dylan Painter was coming back from a pretty severe ankle injury, played well at the end of the year for us. And then we got, he really was able to contribute to the conference tournament at a key time. But then, they gave us an opportunity for Jair Davis, who hadn't played a whole lot at the beginning of the year, really to come on and get confident. And we played a little smaller with him out there. So trying to mix and match personnel groupings and pairings and finding time to be able to get a group to develop that chemistry, whether you're playing, whatever lineup you're playing.
I wanted to ask you about your leading scorer, Jameer Nelson Jr. He's back as he shot 36.4% from three in the process. What kind of impact does his presence have on a basketball team? I remember when his father played, he was a show. I mean,
Yeah.
and I'm wondering if Jameer shares any of that now that he's, at a major college level.
He does. He's been in our program for a year and a half. He transferred from GW. I think the best thing that happened to him was he was here in the spring semester where we compete against our group and really learn our system. He had a phenomenal first year in our program. I'm looking for him to make an even bigger jump in his second full season with us here at Delaware and really taking on a leadership role as a captain and as an older guy that knows our system as well as anybody. He's such a dynamic athlete. He can get so many places on the floor. I think he's really learning how to be more of a complete guard and run a team and be a facilitator. And he's gotten better as a three-point shooter. He can really impact the game on the defensive end. So he'll have the ball in his hands a lot, but we'll also get him off the ball a little bit to get him in some actions where he can look to attack. So, he's had a really good spring and summer for us, and I'm excited, for him to be an extension of me out there on the court.
That's cool. That's cool. Now, I remember when you recruited Jair Davis, and he comes in, he's the CAA Rookie of the Year, also had the most outstanding player in the CAA Tournament. What gave him so much presence so quickly as a Delaware Blue Hen?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Jai's a really, really hard worker. He's in the gym all the time. I think he trusted us in our development of him as a basketball player. It didn't happen overnight. He really had to work day to day, week by week. I think our assistants have done a great job just getting him confident on the basketball court and just being consistent with his effort on both ends of the floor. I mean, he kind of went from a nobody, and then all of a sudden you could argue he was the best player in the CAA with how he played at the end of the year. And it goes back to got to be ready for an opportunity. When Dylan Painter went down with his ankle injury against Towson, we inserted Jair Davis into a bigger role. The next game he came off the bench, and I think he had 23 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists at JMU, and really the rest is history. He's super talented. He's a mismatch nightmare. He's really worked hard this spring and summer on being able to step out and stretch the floor, and he's going to have the green light to be able to shoot from the 3-point line. So, I'm excited as I am as Jameer's, big jump from year 1 to year 2 with us. I think Jair Davis is going to have, that type of impact as well in his second year with us.
Coach, you guys shot 47% from the floor last season, and you were out rebounded on average. How did you take the rebounding prowess to another level after, I think 4 of your top 6 players, were left or graduated?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to have to be by committee. Jair Davis on the front line. We added Christian Ray, who was, I believe, a top 10 rebounder in the Atlantic 10, who just is always around the basketball. He rebounds like he's 6'9". He's going to be in there with us right away. I think he'll be able to help. And then our perimeter guys have to rebound. Jameer can get a couple. We got LJ Owens, who's a transfer from UMBC, Ebi Esimo. So, we're going to have to do a good job on the defensive backboard. We're a little smaller than we were last year, losing Andrew Carr and Dylan Painter and some of our other key guys. We added Nigel Shad, who's a transfer from Pacific, a big frontline guy. We got a freshman in Houston Emery, who I think will be able to make an impact on both ends of the floor for us on the backboard. So again, it's going to come down to, just buying in and digging in on the defensive end, limiting teams to one shot. And that was a little bit of our problem in years past, not being able to do a good enough job on the backboard.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about the CAA. Now, you lose James Madison, but, you've got Hampton, Monmouth, it's North Carolina A&T, and Stony Brook coming in. So discuss how you and your program prepare for so many teams. And really before the season, is there very much preparation can happen before that game shows up?
Yeah, I mean, our assistants are, we're trying to break down scouting assignments now. We just released our schedule, I guess, 35 minutes ago. We knew our conference schedule, but getting familiar with, NCAA, Hampton, familiar with Stony Brook and Monmouth just because they're up in the neck of the woods. We played Stony Brook a couple years back, but I do think you look at them as a little bit of like non-conference teams that you're playing in the conference season that we got
Yeah.
to get familiar to, personnel, style of play, coaching styles, new buildings that we haven't been in before. The good thing for us is we do have some older guys, but then we also have some new guys, 6 new faces, 3 transfers, 3 incoming freshmen that, it's just going to be the CAA play for them. So, we're trying to figure it out. We're excited about the additions within our conference. I think we're in a position of strength right now with what we've added. So we look forward to being able to compete against, those programs.
You mentioned Coach Bray. I was wanting to ask you, did you hear from him after you won the tournament or, when you guys were in the process?
Yeah, he and I, he checks in frequently throughout the season. We text quite a bit. He sent me a great message when I got back to the bus after we won the championship. And he's just been a great mentor of mine, obviously a great friend. And this is what we talked about when he would talk about his days at Delaware, being able to get to the NCAA tournament. They did it in back-to-back years, how this place treated them. And, we were on the cuffs a couple years back, COVID hit. So it was, gratifying to be able to get it done in DC. And, we went through the 4 seed, the 1 seed, and the 2 seed to win a championship down in DC. So really proud of our group to be able to get it done on a big stage and be able to lead this program back to the NCAA tournament.
Last thing, Coach, I'm curious on your perception of this. It's, of course, the transfer portal. I was wondering if you would just give us your feel, your opinion of that, and then how you guys try to work yourselves in. I mean, you can lose players, I guess, but also pick up players. And I'm wondering how parallel that is when it happens. I mean, obviously, when you gain players, they're going to get better. But I'm just curious about that parallel early.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the new normal in college basketball. The landscape has changed, and we just have to be able to adapt and adjust to it. As much as we all have our own personal opinions or what's good, what's bad, what we don't like about it. We talk about that in our staff meetings all the time. If there's a fly on the wall, probably be some good stories written about the transfer portal, but it's uniformity across college sports. And, we've really gotten hit hard by some really good players leaving our program that have gone to higher levels. We've also benefited from some really good players coming to our program. So I look at it's like the necessary evil of college basketball, guys being able to come and go. And, we just want to be able to, really give the student athletes here at the University of Delaware the best collegiate experience that they could have. And, we treat them well. We give them opportunities. We invest in them. We challenge them every day to be the best versions of themselves. And hopefully they want to stay here for a really, really long time. And, but, it has changed the recruiting game because I feel for the high school kids, not as many kids are having the opportunities they had in years past. And there's now a pool of players for us that wasn't available before come spring that maybe a little older, a little more mature, a little maybe, quicker to step in and help you win at the collegiate level than maybe waiting for a freshman or two to get to sophomore year or junior year, and you see that development. So, it definitely has changed how high major programs have recruited. It's changed how we've recruited a little bit, depending on the number of scholarships we have available. Are you taking high school kids. You're waiting on 2 transfers. What are you doing? We've had some, heated debates in our staff meetings, like, hey, what do we want to do with our scholarship? And I think you get a good sense of where you are coming out of spring and summer and fall preseason of like, okay, I really like this guy. We're going to invest in him. That we don't need a transfer. We don't need another high school kid because we have that already. The most important recruits you have are the guys in your program. And that's something that we've always done here at Delaware is connecting with them and helping them get better as players, as students, as representatives of our program in this community, and really trying to love them and care for them and help them get better every day. So, yeah.
Coach Martin Ingelsby, we're always proud to have him and his Delaware Blue Hens here on Marching to Madness. Coach, good luck this season. And, I'm up here north of where I normally am. I'm going to try to see you guys play live at some point.
Well, we'd love to see you, Ken. You get your ticket on our bench. You can sit down on the end of the bench and give me pointers during the game. But if we ever get down there recruiting, look forward to trying to connect, and hopefully we can do this again sometime soon.
You want me to give the referees some pointers?
Yeah,
too?
give them hell, right? Give them hell. I love it.